Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe. If you don't know who I am Carmela Carter. I am an author, life coach, and motivational speaker. So make sure you like, subscribe, because you never know what I'm going to be talking about here on this channel. And I want to keep you up to date. I want to keep you up to date with all the good things that God is doing. So make sure you definitely keep in touch with me. You hear me? Okay. So I'm back to share another part of our story, my husband and I's story to dating. The last time I shared, this is part 2. So if you have not saw part 1, I need you to go and check it out because it's really good. It's really good. So make sure you go and check it out. I talked to you about how I met him and the things that I asked God for to know that he was the one, because I just needed to know. I just needed confirmation, affirmation, and all of those things. So this of the dating process, and I'm really not going to go through the entire dating process, but the point that I want to focus on is how we both almost missed our blessing. Yes, we both almost missed our blessing of each other, because even after God spoke to us both and we knew that we were the one for each other, we still did some stupid stuff, some stupid disobedient stuff. So here you go. After we went on our date, that whole situation, and God spoke through the bookmark and everything. Go to part 1, you'll hear about it. We was still seeking God and still asking God, and so Marvin had went away to Panama. And when he went away to Panama, we had been talking like the whole time on his way there. We were like on the phone. We were, because he went to New York first, so we were on the phone the whole time. Then we got on a flight. So once he landed, he called me. We were on the phone. We was just like getting to know each other. It was really exciting and stuff. So while he was there, he would call me. He said, "I paid all this money to call you for you to do this." So we were on the phone, and I was just like, I was all up in my own head, and I thought that I was just like all that. Ladies, I know you understand. Sometimes you think you're all that and you're better than the person, and you're not. Okay? So we were talking, and he was like, because he's very playful, and I'm very serious. I like playful, but he's very playful. And so he was like joking too much on the phone. And I was just like, oh my God, this cannot be the one for me. He can't be the one. Maybe I missed it because he's just joking too much. And it's annoying. Yeah, joking was annoying to me. And so I just was like, you know what? This is not going to work out. We can't really be together. So I really don't want to talk to you anymore. And he was like, "What? Well, first of all, we're not even together because this was only a week into us talking, 2 weeks into us talking. We're not." He said, "First of all, we're not even together. Secondly, how do you say no? You don't want to talk to me no more?" And I was like, "Because I just don't think that we fit. I don't think that we match. And a lot of things that made me feel that way is." Of course, we were getting to learn each other and know each other. So, one of the things that made me feel that we didn't mesh, from our conversations, besides the joking, was the fact that we came from 2 different places. So I am, okay, well, I'll say was then at that time. So I was a divorcee, was married for 11 years, right? And then I was divorced. I was a divorcee. I was a mother of 4, had 1 as a teenager, and then 3 in my marriage. And then I was 37 years old. So I was 10 years older than him, whole decade different. And I just felt like we just didn't match because he was jokey, he was young, he was fun. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't think we match. And he is single. My husband was a virgin. He was a virgin. I was like, how the heck I look up on a virgin? Okay. But he's a virgin, and he had no kids, of course. He came from the suburbs. I came from the city. I was from the hood. He came from a two-parent household. I came from a one-parent household. Um, I came from the ghetto. He didn't. He had 3 degrees, 2 bachelors, 1 master at the time. I only had an associate's degree. And I just felt like we just didn't match. He was that Bill Cosby child. Where I was lean on me child. Joe Clark. The ones that Joe Clark was teaching. That was me, right? So I just felt like we just didn't match. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna waste your time. You're not gonna waste mine. Although we did that whole bookmark thing and I knew he was the one, I just felt like no. So we broke up or stopped talking because as for him, we wasn't even dating. But we stopped talking, and then he, I got convicted. Like I felt really bad about that, about how I just cut him off. So when he got back, I called him, I apologized, and then we kind of like just start talking again. But this time I took it slower. Like I began to be just friends, because you guys all know that once God speaks something, sometimes we just like pew 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 pew. We just gone. We ain't trying to take no time. We ain't trying to do none of that. We just gone. When God speaks it was like, okay, God said it. All right, I'm after it. And I'm running after it head first. Like that. Head first. Boom. Right? But that's not good all the time. That's not good all the time. So this time, I said I'm gonna take my time. So then, like, we would go out, we would have a good time. Then one time, God spoke to me again when we were at the park. Cause my husband, he loves to work out. I mean, he loves to work out. Okay, and I just don't. I don't like working out all the time, but he loves to work out. So he actually took me to the park to work out. And as we were working out, I was overwhelmed, guys. I was so tired. I was like, this is just too much. Like, I can't even compete with this man, not even keep up with this man. This is just too much. And I remember giving up. I remember sitting at the park and I was just like, I can't do this. This is just too much. Like, it's too much working out. And then y'all about to probably try to clown me for this, but it's the God's honest truth. Let me tell you what happened. I was tired and I was getting anxious. And Marvin grabbed me and he held me. So we was like a month in at this time. And he grabbed me and he held me and he was like, you can do this. Actually, he held me and held my neck up like that. And he was like, you can do this. You're not gonna die. You can do this. Finish this last round and then we're done. And when he said that and he held me, I just felt so comforted. Just so comforted. And I was like, okay, we can do this. I could do this. But as soon as he let my hand, he said, take a couple seconds and breathe. And I'll walk away and set up our last 30 seconds. I mean, our last couple minutes. And I said, okay. And when he walked away, guys, I sat there and it was as if, this is the clowning part, the sun beam hit me, right? I keep thinking in my head, I keep picturing like a dove and the sunbeam and the dove and stuff like that. So the sunbeam literally, I felt the sunbeam and I look up and I hear God say, I told you he would be my son because he will love you like I love you and he would treat you like I treat you. And then you will know that he was my son. And I was like, wow. And what did that mean for me? It was that God never, even in our hardest, roughest times, he never lets us give up. When we think we're about to pass out, we're about to faint, we're about to give up, he holds us and says, you can do this. I got you. I'm not going to let you give up. Just finish this last round and something good will happen later. And I just literally, like, tears rolled down my eyes. And I was like, God, He is treating me like you treat me. And he is loving me the way you love me by not allowing me to give up. That meant the world to me. So I finished that last round. And then 2 weeks later, I broke up with him again. I was stupid. I just kept feeling like it was like he was too much for me. And this time it probably had something to do with outside influences. And I'm not gonna say who the outside influences are, but they know who they are. We had a couple of outside influences that we weren't supposed to be together. So long short, I broke up with him 3 times before I finally said, okay, I'm not gonna break up with him no more, and I know he's the one. And that 3 times was in like 3 months, right? And then I stopped. So then we was doing really, really good, and we were learning each other. I had introduced him to my children 3 months after we started dating, so it wasn't right away. So ladies, don't do it right away. Don't do it right away. Okay? Make sure you wait. So I had introduced him to my children 3 months later. Thank God that I had broke up with him in them times and they didn't know who he was in those three months. But when they finally met him, it was pretty cool and we was going strong. But then, so that was around August. So fast forward to January, I went to the doctors. I had just got a new townhouse in December. And then January, I went to the doctors, and the doctors told me, my OBGYN, she told me that if um, I couldn't have any more children, and if I did, that it would possibly kill me. So at this point, I'm like, I ain't about to die over no having no baby. Like I'm just not gonna die over having no baby. And so I knew that I didn't want to have any more kids, I thought. So I talked to him and I told him about that. I said, Marvin, you're a virgin. You know, you waited your whole life to be married. Like this is everything that he dreamed of. He dreamed of having a wife. He dreamed of having children. He dreamed of all of those things. And I didn't want to be the one to take that from him. So I said, I don't know what to tell you. I love you. I want to be with you. But the doctor said that I shouldn't have any more children because if I do, I would die. So he said, well, Carmela, that's my heart's desire. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to break up with you. Girl, I cried like a baby. I was like, no, he was the one. God, you spoke it all those times. I know. I fleeced you. People confirmed it. I broke up with him 3 times. I repent. I was going crazy, okay? Because I wanted to be with him. But this time he broke up with me. He said, I want kids and I don't want to be with you. So after I went to church that Sunday because him and I still go to the same church. So it was very, very difficult to be in church with him because he's just, I love him. And a sister came to me. No one knew. No one knew we broke up. And one of the girls in our church came to me and she said, God said what he would do in 2 years, he's going to do in 2 months. And I was like, okay, thank you. I didn't know what that word meant when she spoke it to me, but when I went home, I realized that God was speaking to Marvin, my situation with Marvin. And he said that if I would give him 2 months, that he would turn things around. By this time, it's February. And so I said, okay. And the date was April. So February, March, and then April. So it was April 4th. God gave me the date, April 4th. And I said, okay. But we all know when God says a word, it's not easy sometimes it's not easy to just accept the word and know that this is going to happen. Sometimes it's very difficult. So I was like, in those 2 months was hard. It was very, very difficult. He would still try to reach out to me. We would see each other in church. But I just told him, like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you because, first of all, I'm hurt. I'm hurt because I think the one thing that really hurt me the most, and he already knows this, but the one thing that hurt me the most is because no one knows if you can have a baby or not, right? So even if he broke up with me and he got with someone else, he don't know if she's gonna have fertility issues, you know? So you just never know. And then he knew that God had spoken, but for him to still break up with me was just like really heartbreaking. So within those 2 months, it was hard. But then God gave one of my friends a dream. No one knew that Marvin and I was dating within this year. Like the only people knew was some of the people in our church, and that maybe like three or four, and my mom, his parents, and our best friends. So it was like that tight of a circle that knew we were actually dating. And so when we broke up, it wasn't a big deal to the outside world because nobody really knew, but I did, and it hurt me. So, um, one of my friends from Georgia, she called me and said, Carmela, I had a dream about you. And let me tell you in this dream, she said, girl, it was about your husband. He was tall, dark, handsome with a bald head. And I was like, and she was describing Marvin, but I didn't want to tell her because I didn't want to tell her that I'm dating. And so she's like, he was tall, dark hair, and he loved your kids. And she was like, but he didn't have any kids. But he loved your kids and he treated them like your own. And I was like, oh my God. And I just start crying. I was like, thank you so much. I said, I believe that God is going to give me that man that you're speaking about. I already knew the guy she was speaking about, but I didn't want to tell her just in case I had misheard God and April wasn't a thing, right? So I had actually went on a date with someone else. He was a really nice guy, but he just wasn't the one. And he's married now too, so kudos to him. But yeah, so I had just had to wait. But I remember Marvin and I talking in April, a week before we the fourth came. Well, actually in March, a week before the fourth came, because I said to him, I said, God gave me a date for you. And if you don't come back by this date, then I'm good on you. Like I'm just not going to move forward with this thing or think about you anymore. I'm just gonna move forward. I'm just done. So he said, well, God gave me a date too. And I was like, and could you believe that the dates were like in sync and we didn't even talk about them? But the date was in sync with each other, and we knew that we were supposed to say something. And so he was waiting for God to speak to him to tell him I was the one by April, and I was looking for God for him to return by April. And so we just knew it was just like, okay, well, you got until this date, and if not, I'm good. So I remember April 4th came around, and I was just like, okay, I hadn't heard from him. But then at 9 o'clock at night, he gonna wait till the end of the day. At 9 o'clock at night, he says, I choose you, I choose us, I choose now. I remember those words. Cause at that time I was literally, it was 9 o'clock and I was in prayer and I was saying, okay, because I was ready to go to bed. I was about to go to bed about 10 o'clock. And I was just in prayer and I was just like, okay, God, I hadn't heard from him all day. And it must not be in your will. I waited the 2 months like you said. And so I'm just gonna move on and just not even think about it anymore. I'm just going to move on, and you'll give me the husband that you have for me, and that's going to love me and my children. And maybe he will still be a brown skinned chocolate brother, bald head, tall, dark, and handsome. And he's still going to love my kids. And so I was just declaring these things like, God, I just thank you because I still love you no matter what. You know, you're still my husband. I still exalt you. Those are all the words I was saying. And then Marvin texts me in the middle of my prayer. My phone goes off and I didn't want to check it, but I was like, I don't know. I just checked it. And when I checked it, it was him. Y'all already know. The crying that a sister did, okay? I was like, hallelujah! So I'm like crying. like a baby. Like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. God, you're so worthy. You're so awesome. I'm exalting God because Marvin knew, I knew, God shared it. And now, from now on, no one's backing out. Like, no one's backing out. So, after we still didn't talk that night, we waited for, I didn't call him, he didn't call me. We waited till the next day, and then we talked, and then we just moved forward in our relationship. But we didn't move forward the way we would have had we, I think, we've been obedient to God the first time. We moved slower. Like, we set boundaries. We said we were never going to disobey God, because both of us, like, when I broke up with him, those 3 times, I would get convicted all the time. All the time, all the time. And I had to, like, talk to him and stuff like that. But this time, he never broke up with me. But this time, when he broke up with me, he was getting those convictions all the time. And so we both never wanted to feel that conviction anymore. So we knew that we were moving forward, period. And so that's what we did. We moved forward in our relationship, and we started to talk. We just started to date as boyfriend and girlfriend, not as fiance, not as married, but boyfriend and girlfriend. We enjoy each step. So I hope this encourages you that sometimes we think, we can almost miss what God is telling us and miss our blessing because of our own self problems, I guess. Our own self, we can almost miss what God is doing. And sis, I don't want you to miss your man. I don't want you to miss your man. So I need you to get up out of self and accept what God has to say to you, through you, for him. Okay? And if you're not dating right now, learn from my mistakes. Learn from my mistakes and my husband's mistakes, that we almost gave up on each other, and we almost missed one of the best things that has ever happened to us in our lives, which is each other and being married. So my next video, I'm going to share with you how God orchestrated my entire wedding process. You want to hear about miracles? You want to hear about a miracle? You want to hear about a miracle? You want to hear about a miracle in my next video. So stay tuned, and I'm praying for you guys. I hope you guys are praying for me. Have an amazing day and week on purpose. Peace.